Hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force, and today we're wrapping up the Youngblood series. But first, did somebody say Youngblood Force? No, we said Blood Force. So what is Blood Force? This is Blood Force. Blood Force is a celebration / send-up of 90s extreme comics. It's itself a comic book. It's drawn by me and also written by me. It's all me. I'm to blame for this. So you may be asking yourself, how do I go about reading Blood Force? And the answer is you open up the description to this video. In there you'll find a link to my Patreon. Subscribe there. That will give you access to all of the Blood Force pages. It'll also give you access to all the process stuff. I usually include stuff like just pencils lying out there. You'll get all the videos. You'll also get some pre-Blood Force stuff. All this just for $3 American. It's an absolute steal. And of course, the more subscribers we get, the closer we get to the goal of publishing Blood Force. But that's a ways off. First thing we got to do, baby steps, is we need subscribers first. So subscribe today, read some Blood Force comics, help get Blood Force out on those shelves. And this certainly sounded like I had a third thing to say, but I don't. All right, so Youngblood is back, eventually. It's only been, like 5 months. That's not that outlandish, You think when we started out, it was April of 1992. And then we went June, then we went October in number 3. Already that gap there that's like, 4 months? Yeah. So really, 2 months, then 4 months, then 5. It's a progression. It all makes sense, ultimately. So let's get into this issue 4 of The Youngest of Bloods. This is Final Battle, as issue 4 is wont to be. Naturally, after 3 whole issues, this would be the end game. But no, that would be because this is the miniseries wrapping up. Theoretically, this isn't actually Final Battle. Final Battle will be issue 5. This is more the pregame kind of thing. And cover here is okay. It is probably the weakest Youngblood cover so far. That's okay. We're going to get a whole lot worse pretty soon. But you look at the last ones, nothing was going on, but it felt like they might be about to do something. This is more like they caught the guys at a coffee break, and they went, look mean. They went, real quick. Snapped a shot. And, yeah. I'm not sure why exactly Chapel has prominence of place here. Maybe because he just hasn't yet, and we need to kind of give the impression, things happen in these issues, this one's, more focused on Chapel. He doesn't do anything in this. If we were to think about who should be the focus in this, it would probably be Die Hard. Or maybe Bedrock. But, no, certainly not Chapel. Anyway. Colors are a little more interesting, though. I think Brian Murray did the colors on this one here. Yeah, he did, too. He managed to keep it pretty reasonable on the cover, although it got weird and silly on the inside, as it's wont to do in a Brian Murray book. This is not Brian Murray. This is Steve Oliff and Ollie Optics. And that name should be familiar to you because those are the guys who did Spawn. And I believe they also do Savage Dragon. And that's the good stuff. That's top of the line. So Liefeld finally being able to get some time in at Ollie Optics. Now, he does eventually steal Kiko. Is Kiko the guy specifically who did this one? No, it doesn't say. So, not a whole lot to go over here. As usual, Kurt Hathaway doing the lettering, Eric Stevenson editing, Rob doing the writing and the penciling, and then Danny Miki doing the inks. I mean, this might be as good a product theoretically as we could get for Liefeld, right? It's got competent lettering. Liefeld sticking to his strengths. I mean, he could have inked it too, but Danny Miki doing inks on Rob Liefeld, that's classic. And, he's not going to hire a real writer, so he might as well write his own shit. Sure, why not? Okay, so, quick recap, which is basically this here. This is Die Hard's internal monologue, all right? And it's basically filling you in on everything that's happened so far. We're talking about Youngblood issue 2 and 3. Yeah, that's it. It feels like this is supposed to be epic, but no. So issue 2, Youngblood away team discovers Prophet. accidentally wake him up. They beat each other up for a little while. Then disciples teleport in, and them and the disciples all beat up on each other. Issue number 3, Youngblood away team had already been beat up by the disciples, and now Prophet was the only one left to beat up disciples. So now, issue number 4, Youngblood home team is going to go and back up Youngblood away team. All right? And I already tried to do a revisit on this issue, and it got really bogged down by all the narration and the dialogue. And none of it is necessary. It is only here because Rob has to put it here. It doesn't have any bearing on anything that happens in the comic. Alright, so if you just imagine that all these word bubbles just disappeared, that's how the comic is supposed to be read. And honestly, you can read it fine just like that. You know, just a little thing saying all the stuff I just said, and then ship coming in. They're all there. They said, we're coming in. And Badrock, I'm gonna mix that up, that's okay. Said something kind of witty, and they went, man, he's trying to lighten the mood. And, you know, then we get big splash page because Rob wants this to feel epic. And we're coming into position stuff. Chapel doesn't even say anything, even though he's featured on the cover. Bedrock makes jokes. Shaft says, get it together, Rock. And this isn't some bad technical stuff for Rob. I mean, he is going to try and put in a little bit more line count so that he can resell it for a fair bit more. Then we get another double-page spread with them jumping down. You'll notice we're 5 pages in. They still haven't actually arrived at the place yet. You could have done all this preliminary stuff on page 1, and then had them arrive at the place on page 2. And then you wouldn't have had to spill over this entire, like half of this issue, into Brigade number 4, which is what they eventually do. And so Rob's going to pump up the value on these pages by giving Bedrock all of 3 stayings. Yahoo, Yabba Dabba Doom, and What a Rush. And God forbid you bought a Rob Liefeld page blind, you know, because you might end up with like Youngblood issue 4, page 4, drawn by Rob Liefeld, and you don't see the image, and you go, cool, it's a Rob Liefeld page, and you just get this gigantic shot of Die Hard's ass. All right. Again, ignoring all this stuff, because you look at some of this stuff, the word balloons, giant androids, not impressed. And then we get, you know, Bedrock, he's a kid inside, but he carries himself like an old pro. And I make quick work of these two. And, you know, like, it doesn't have anything to do with anything. Just look at it without the words. That's how it's supposed to be. And these are, like, cool shots of the characters. This is kind of, you know, get a close-up in there. This is all Rob's drawing. He's not even really drawing story. He's just drawing dudes standing around, and like this is notebook doodles in school. This is the kind of stuff you would draw. And then we come across Prophet, who has spent all of this time in the interim just growing that right leg. This is his plan to defeat the disciples. He's going to grow this leg until it's unstoppable. And then he will kick towards freedom. And he assumes that because of the way they dress, that they're comrades of the Youngblood away team, which is kind of funny. That's a little bit of commentary almost. And they assume that he's telling the truth, that he was fighting guys with them. And Prophet's costume has gotten even less complicated since the last time we saw it. I mean, we did see it get kind of shredded. That's less so now. I was not expecting him to use this as a template or anything. But, I mean, you know, this wasn't the worst look, at least. He forgot about the rib things. He didn't think to throw in a shoulder pad. Oh, wait. Yes, he did. Maybe not there, but there. Better late than never. Oh, this one almost does look like a template. Like he was going by by this one. He's got both the tubes around the arms, and he's got the broken shoulder pad. And he's even got the rib things. So he was looking here. Just not here. And the disciples teleport in immediately, and just kill everything out. Die Hard did an actual punch. Good job. And they're here to help big fella any way we can. They still don't know who he is. He's just the guy there. But there's a bunch of knocked out Youngblood dudes, and there's a bunch of destroyed robots, and he's the only guy standing. And so they decide to help him, because he said he's on their team. And he even remembered which side it was on, though. That feels impressive. Liefeld, he has difficulty remembering what side is left and what is right, you know. And then Die Hard goes full Captain America and brings out his shield. See, these are Liefeld robots. These are the two robots. These are the laziest fucking things imaginable. When we first saw the Disciples, and I said these robot designs, I mean, they're not super high-tech or anything, but they're way beyond what Liefeld can manage. This is what I was talking about. And this is what we will keep seeing until the end of the issue. Because Liefeld can't make a deadline, but he sure draws like he's trying. And here we get a replication of the Die Hard standing up against a wall thing. Yep. Oh, but all of a sudden, Die Hard, he's fixed all of his spirally thread thingies, because those are hard to draw. No, but Liefeld loves to do this shit where he just he can't. If he decides an image is cool, then he's gonna try and replicate it as often as possible. For example, see, every time he's redrawn the cover from New Mutants number 87 or number 98, or there's probably an X-Force one he considers iconic. You know, Liefeld stealing his own work is a tradition. And there you go, Superman punch only with the shield. And look at how lazy that fucking robot is. And look at I'll take out the big one first and hope that old adage holds true. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. It's all cliches all the time. The Disciples are tough. The shield's tougher. The lab boys made sure of that. Made it with the same compounds and alloys used in my creation. I don't know what those alloys and compounds are. That would require some thought. So again, we see time and time again that the words aren't there for any reason other than it would look weird if they weren't there. You look at these pages, do you think we wouldn't be able to tell what was going on if we didn't have Liefeld telling us the bigger they are, the harder they fall? Not really. Does that add anything? No, not really. And then we get a big old bedrock punch, which I'm sure Rob made a bunch of money off reselling. And, you know, even he can't think of anything to put in here other than we know how to kick some butt. And then Shaft confronts Prophet. Die Hard goes, no, we're on the same side. And Shaft should probably say, how do you know? And Die Hard should go, oh, wait, yeah, no, I don't know that. And then we get a big old snarl off. I love these things where they should just be looking at each other like they can't contain their fucking rage. And you do see just how far the colors come along here. Since, I mean, even the last issue. Because this is the difference between, you know, Ollie Optics and 1992 Brian Murray, which is no shade on 1992 Brian Murray. You know, he's doing what he can with what he's got. But, you know, this stuff was available in 1992. Spawn proved it. Just Rob didn't use it for whatever reason, or I don't know. But it sure looks a shit ton better. So the Disciples are a product of futuristic science. Neither they nor I are supposed to be here in this time or in this place. I was designed by Dr. Garnet Wells to combat them in their many forms. Okay, so we got a reason for Prophet to exist. I think this is the prophecy that was prophesized to not come to pass. And this is their most basic, simple form. They are harbingers of a more pertinent threat, which is Darkseid? Darkthorn. That was it. It was pretty close. And the Disciples get transported here through a teleportation device called a crash tunnel. So, a boom tube. So, Darkthorn, yes, is Darkseid. So, their objective now is to close the crash tunnels. Ooh. Rough perspective. And Bedrock has to follow Die Hard. Profits with Shafton Chapel. We say put till Vogue or Photon, oh my god. So the only guy left from Youngblood away team who's still standing-ish is Sentinel, who didn't get his eye shot out. He just kind of looks like it, and Rob missed drawing Cable for a little bit, I think. And he just kind of repeats the previous dialogue and mentions the Berserkers, and which we haven't really heard anything about up till now. And Rob's going to include them in some drawings in the future, so I guess we kind of have to say something about them. And then there's nothing going on here. It's just running through the crash tunnels. They get to the end, and right there is the Darkseid guy with his fake Desaad. And Die Hard's going to run at him immediately. And, like, look how, I don't know. This is kind of weak looking. He doesn't look imposing or anything. There's no elaboration to his design. He's just kind of a dude, and who's wearing tights, much like everybody else, and is just kind of standing there. Not much bigger than anybody else. And yeah, so makes quick work of Die Hard. Does a little hypnosis on Bedrock. And moments later, it's coming. I'll do one of these soon. And then they emerge from the crash tunnel, and it's Darkseid and Bedrock, and Bedrock's on Darkseid's side. And he says, "Your comrade now serves the Darkseid," and that's bolded. I mean, there's the cliche. There's him ripping off Star Wars. There's him ripping off New Gods. Just everything. And this is to be concluded in Brigade number 4. See this issue's letters page for details. Okay. So this presents an interesting dilemma, because this is a natural cliffhanger point, but Rob only has Youngblood scheduled for 4 issues. I wonder if it's a distribution thing, because you have to get your orders in and all that. Potentially, I suppose. And there were plenty of opportunities to shorten this issue so that we could include the fight in the issue. I don't know if Rob would have done that, though. This is all kind of standard shit. And it's not, what is he going to, learn how to do storytelling all of a sudden? I don't fucking think so. So, yeah, this is about as good as we're going to get, I suppose. And then he's just going to squish all of 13 pages of Youngblood number 5 onto the ass end of Brigade number 4. Sounds about right. Okay, we get to the letters, and it's going to be the usual shit, although this guy thinks he's a fucking comedian. Dear Rob, I hate to tell you this, but I found something wrong with your art. You don't draw pupils. I know it might seem cool when a guy's berserkering, but not when he's walking along the road. I noticed it over in X-Force, but I never wrote in because it is actually a small price to pay for such great art. And the rest is just excellent job. Fanboy, fanboy, fanboy. The odd bit of question here and there. Nothing particularly interesting and fun, though. Nothing where Eric Stevenson is just sick of these fucking fans. It's right around this time, too, when Brigade number 3 came out, and he just fucking had it. And the special announcement section. The Youngblood miniseries may be over, but you haven't seen the last of them by a long shot. The 10-page conclusion, it was 13 if I recall correctly, actually, to this issue's story, and you thought we left you hanging, is just around the corner, and Brigade number 4 on sale next month. Well, they didn't quite hit that one. And following that, we kick into high gear with Youngblood's Strike File. The first issue features the first ever pairing of Rob Liefeld and the legendary George Perez. And the inimitable Mr. Perez steps in to ink Rob on the previously mentioned Die Hard Super Patriot free-for-all. I know Die Hard fights Super Patriot. I didn't know George Perez inked that. And I didn't know that because he didn't. It was Danny Miki. Mr. Perez steps in to ink Rob on the and as if that weren't enough, Rob and hot newcomer Jay Lee team up for the first chapter of a 3-part Chapel story that ties into the Who Killed Spawn storyline coming up in Spawn 12 and 13. That much is true. From there, we've got the new Bloodstrike and Brigade series as well as our first Youngblood yearbook on tap. And finally, after all that, get ready for the countdown to the Youngblood regular series. Well, it makes it sound like, Youngblood is going to be, like a Spawn. We're going to get up to 12 and 13 and all that, and we're going to just keep on going. Man, Youngblood ended at issue 10 in like 2 years. And we get this where some dude just would I remember this. Some guy would cosplay as Chapel. Kind of. Only, not in the dumb colors. And he'd follow around Rob at conventions. And then we get a Pit backup story. This is the month after Pit number 1 came out. I wonder how happy Dale was with that. Oh well. And this is kind of origin stuff where Pit was a prisoner on this ship. Some pretty packed pages. And he escaped. This guy has to kill himself because he lost face, I believe, in front of his commanding officer. And then Timmy is Pit kind of could have been something. I mean, they all could have been something. And he just hamstrings himself immediately by making this little kid the focus of the comic book. Anyway, they're on a subway car and they're getting harassed by punks. And then Pit teleports in, and it's pretty cool, actually. And does the Teen Wolf claws coming out. Always good. And this is the Predator 2 sequence. Yeah, this is maybe like 2-3 years after Predator 2 came out. There's a sequence, I'm pretty sure, where Predator's on a subway train, and the lights keep shuttling in and out, and it's good stuff though. Where you just a lot of the action actually takes place in the blackouts, and you just get yells and cracks and thwomps, and not great lettering. Who's doing the lettering on this? Ron Kasman. There's somebody I've never heard of. Joe Chiodo doing the colors though. Looks good. And that's it. That's really all you need for a preview. I guess it's you get a little bit of a fight, and then unfortunately that kid's just gonna keep on coming back. Looks pretty great though. Is Dale Keown inking himself here? He looks like he might be. Yeah. And that's some nice work. I guess those are brushes, eh? But he gets in there with the nib too. I gotta say, Dale Keown inking himself looks pretty great. Comic sucks, but looked alright. And we get our first hints of a big old crossover coming down the pipe. They didn't even know what it was called yet. Just I get to draw Shaft and Die Hard in slightly different costumes because I'm already getting bored of them. And we're gonna get Bloodshot in there too. And it's called This Blood's For You, or that's the tagline, or something. But it's gonna be super cool, y'all. I won't be releasing my part for another 3 years, but everybody else's will be super cool. Alright, so that was issue number 4. Issue number 5 should be out in a couple of days. It was originally all going to be one video for the two of them, because I figured issue number 5, it's just 13 pages of Chappie Ape artwork. I should be able to get it done in 5 minutes, and then I go and take 15 or something. So yeah, it'll be out in a few days. In the meantime, thanks very much for stopping by. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications, go follow me on Twitter. More importantly, go and subscribe on Patreon. And that's where all the Blood Force pages end up. That's where all the process stuff is. That's where these videos get dropped right away as soon as I upload them. So usually about a week in advance. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in a couple of days for Youngblood number 5. Bye-bye.